guys, welcome to 6 Minutes for Monday, January 19th. I'm Jason Fulmore, SE Wrestle, and man, it's been a whirlwind over the last few weeks, but especially over the last week as Alabama, Florida, Georgia, right in the middle of their state duels. Still lots going on in South Carolina, North Carolina, and Tennessee, although we won't spend nearly as much time talking about those three states today because there's so much to cover in the other three states that if I spend too much time elsewhere, this is going to be way too long. So, and you know, it's not only high school wrestling that's got a ton of things going on. In fact, we are leading up to conference tournaments and March for the college men and women, and there's been some just absolutely fantastic duels, like this action from Friday night. Yeah, Caleb Henson beat John Milner in Virginia Tech versus App State, which happened on Friday night. If you missed it, sudden death or sudden victory takedown by Henson ended up getting him the win over Milner, who is a two-time All-American. So the freshman from Virginia Tech is wrestling extremely well. If you don't know, he's a former Georgia wrestler at Woodland, who had a good weekend this past weekend as well. So, but before we get to that, let's also talk about a few other things happening in the colleges. And again, there's no time to really, not a whole lot of time to really get into a bunch of this. So I'm going to miss a ton. But check out this picture of Jonathan Cheser from Georgia, former Georgia wrestler, now at the Citadel, with a big win over App State in his duel on Sunday. And I just realized that was two App State losses that I just talked about, which was certainly not intentional because John Mark Bentley and App State are killing it. They're in the top 25. They're wrestling extremely well. They beat Citadel, but they did lose to Virginia Tech on Friday night. There's been some absolutely fantastic matches. And it's not only happening at the D1 level. If you look over in the NAIA Midway, won the CBC invite and wrestled extremely well there as well. And if you don't know, tons of Alabama wrestlers like Kyler Adams and so on and so forth, as well as Georgia wrestlers, Tennessee wrestlers, all over the place on those rosters for the NAIA. And the last one I want to talk about real quick is a huge one this week, Thursday night. Lander D2 top 5 program, or at least they were a top 5 program, against NAIA number 2 Life from Georgia. It's going to be a great duel. I wish that I was in town to be able to head to Greenwood, South Carolina for that one, but I'm not. I will be headed down south to the state of Florida to be working their state duels. It's a shame that I won't be able to see the Alabama state duels or the Georgia state duels, although the chances of seeing the Georgia state duels are slim and none anyway because they're in 8 different locations or 7 different locations. So that's a real non-issue as far as that goes. All right, so that was takeaway number 1, and I didn't say it to begin with, but let's jump to takeaway number 2. And this is going to be the one tournament I talk about besides the state duels, and that is up in Tennessee at Brentwood, GP West. Always a fantastic tournament. Invited Mater D, I think that's how you say it, out of Evansville, Indiana, who came down and won the tournament over Bradley Central, Wilson Central, Brentwood, some super good Tennessee teams. It's one of the reasons why I really like to actually go into Tennessee and North Carolina, especially for their tournaments, because we routinely get to see West Virginia, Indiana, Illinois, Virginia teams down, and that we don't normally get to see. So it's kind of cool to see that. All right, so that was a great tournament this past weekend. I didn't get a whole lot of information from it. I apologize. I am swimming in results for state duels. So let's go to takeaway number 3 in the Alabama state duels. And first, for those of you that are not from Alabama, the way Alabama runs it is they have kind of an opening kind of weekend. It's not actually over the weekend, where they run two rounds, especially in 6A and 1A, 4A. And then this coming Tuesday, tomorrow, they wrestle their final 4. And that's where we're going to jump to now. So we have Huntsville versus Thompson, number 1 versus number 3 in 7A in the state of Alabama. Should be lights out. It's going to be a fantastic duel. It's in Huntsville, and yeah, I'll be paying attention to that one tomorrow night, Tuesday night, to see what happens there. The other side of the bracket, we got no information from Smith Station or Daphne, so we don't know who is meeting Enterprise in the other 7A Final 4, but it is what it is. Jump into 6A. We get Hartzell, number 9, versus number 2, Mortimer Jordan. Mortimer Jordan looked fantastic in taking there. And Mountain Brook is on the bottom side, and I'm not 100% sure who they're taking on. So word had it that Noah Smith, and I hope Noah's doing okay, was injured in the match between Wetumpka and Benjamin Russell. And as a result, I think the duel was stopped, and there are no results being posted at the moment. So I don't know if it'll be Wetumpka versus Mountain Brook, or if it's Benjamin Russell versus Mountain Brook. The Alabama High School Activities Association has not updated that. Most importantly, we hope Noah Smith is okay, and he recovers well, and kind of a scary situation. All right, so let's jump to 5A. And the 5A Final 4, which again, just like 7A, just like 6A, all the classes takes place tomorrow night in Alabama. Hayden versus Jasper, number 5 versus number 3. And then down south, you get Gulf Shores versus Tallahassee. It's going to be a lot of fun in those matchups. And then the last one is in 1A, 4A. And down in 1A, 4A, we got to see Dora knock off number 1, Weaver first, and then number 2, Asheville, to make the Final 4. They will take on New Hope, the number 8 ranked team in the state of Alabama, according to the Alabama Wrestling Coaches Association. On the bottom side, we had some weather issues last week. I hope everybody in the state of Alabama is okay. But it did put a delay on some of the matches and the duels, so I don't think Prattville Christian Academy, I'm not sure if they wrestled W.S. Neal. I don't know what happened in terms of their potential match, Elite 8 match with St. James, and who would be on that bottom side. But again, the HSAA has not really updated that information yet. All right. So let's jump over to the state of Georgia, and I don't know what takeaway I'm on now. Takeaway 4, takeaway 5. But I will say this last weekend's prelims and state duels in the state of Georgia were unbelievably good. A lot of fun. If you get a chance to go back and watch Lucas and I's conversation, you can pick out the ones that he got right and certainly the ones he got wrong, and there were a few of them. Not a slight on Lucas, but the truth of the matter is that some teams came to wrestle, like Temple. Temple ended up punching their ticket through to the Elite 8 in 1A. East Jackson, they took care of business, and I believe, they're in 2A, and they punched their ticket into the Elite 8. And there were a ton of others. There were some fantastic matches. Lowndes beat North Paulding in 7A. In a match that I heard came down to the last minute, or the last match. Other teams like Buford and Camden rolled to their spot in the Elite 8. 6A was chaos, as we have come to expect North Forsyth down Brunswick. Woodward Academy's looking pretty tough right now. And South Effingham in 6A as well. We're going to have all the coverage of the Elite Eight once those brackets drop, which I hope is later today, might be more like tomorrow. I'll have a conversation with Lucas Da Silva. We'll break down those brackets, talk about them in a little bit of detail. And if you're a member of SC Wrestle Plus, you can go over to the Plus part of the website where I will talk a little bit about some of the ranked versus ranked matchups, some kind of who should have advantage or disadvantage in particular duels, and that sort of thing. But at the moment, we don't know what the brackets look like. So we're kind of stuck with, we know the 8 teams, and we kind of know their lineups. But yeah, anyway. So that's the state of Georgia. Let's jump down to takeaway 5, 6, I don't know. And our final takeaway today, the state of Florida. And the state of Florida, this past Thursday, all of the teams punched their ticket. I think there might have been one that happened on Friday, but all the teams punched their tickets to the Elite Eight, which happens this coming Friday and Saturday down at Osceola High School in Kissimmee, where we get to see the 24 best teams in the state of Florida come together for the 1A, 2A, and 3A state duels. 1A, their 4 matches will happen in the morning. 2A will be at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. 3A is your evening matches for that round of Elite Eight. Next morning, we get the Final Four or those semifinals. And then Saturday afternoon, we get to crown dual champions in the state of Florida. Just real quickly, go through it, Class 1A. And if you don't already follow Cobra Wrestling, Brent Parsons does a great job. He's got brackets up, as does SC Wrestle, but brackets are up. And I will be posting probably later today my analysis of what I think will happen in each of those duels, at least the opening round of duels. It's hard to project forward beyond that for this coming weekend. So again, in SC Wrestle Plus, you can read about kind of the potential matchups between these teams. In 1A, we've got Swanee versus Episcopal. On the top side, they're joined by Jensen Beach, who beat Cardinal Gibbons in a fantastic duel. Mater Lakes, who beat Somerset. And Mater Lakes and Somerset, 7-7 duels. Each won 7 matches. Bonus points matter. And Mater Lakes pushed their way through to the Elite Eight on 4 falls, where Somerset, I think, was only able to get 1. So Jensen Beach, Mater Lakes, winner takes on the winner of Swanee and Episcopal. Hernando, Palm Bay on the bottom side, along with Zephyr Hills and First Baptist Naples, who took out a very good team in Lemon Bay. All right, in 2A, jumping to the top again, we've got Lincoln and Fleming Island. Fleming Island looks absolutely stacked and outstanding team from top to bottom. PJ Cobbert's got that team moving in the right direction, and they might be a tough out for anyone in 2A. Also on that side is Merritt Island and Miramar. Winners will take on one another on Saturday morning. And then the bottom side of the 2A bracket features Springstead and Lake Gibson, Tampa Jesuit, and Charlotte. You should know Gibson, Charlotte, Tampa Jesuit. Those 3 teams are always at the very top. Springstead is always in the mix as well, although seems to be maybe a step behind those 3 teams this year. But that's going to be your 2A on Friday afternoon. And then 3A features DeLand versus Haggerty, who won a crazy duel at the end over Timber Creek, 36-33, to get to the Elite Eight. You got Cypress Bay versus South Dade, what has really become a staple matchup in the Elite Eight because of the way we do it. Although I don't know why we don't seed once we get to the Elite Eight like Georgia does. That would stop this situation from occurring. You wouldn't be able to stop Southwest and South Dade from matching up with one another in the round of 16, but at least we would get different matchups at this point in the tournament when everybody comes together to Kissimmee anyway. So anyway, on the bottom side, Osceola will take on Palmetto Ridge, the defending champs, and Fort Pierce Central takes on Wellington in your final 3A match on Friday night. All right, so that was a ton of information. I ran through it pretty quickly. I simply wanted to give you guys a catch up. I'm hopefully we'll have all of the cards. Basically, I call them cards of all the lineups for every single duel that will happen over the next the week, and then we transition. I think Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina will step in and start their dual series off, and Georgia will start, and Alabama will start really grinding towards their individual state championships. Busy few weeks, busy month and a half ahead. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good one, and speedy recovery to Noah and Wetumpka and all of them. I hope that everything is going okay. You guys take care, and I'll see you next time. See ya. Bye.